depends on what we mean by old money or new money. But there are people that I know that collect old money. Take it to the bank. They will collect any kind of money you bring, because after all, they are the ones that issue the money, right? Yeah. Also, filling stations, because they will send it to the bank, right? Bus conductors and drivers, of course, are in a hurry to collect the money because they will also give it out, right? So yes, however, they may be limited to tier money. There may be a certain degree of the tiering that they will tell you, sis, I beg exchange them. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel once again. And yeah, there is this particular video I want us, me and you, to react to. And it is a video of a Cameroonian young woman who came to Nigeria. Okay, her name is Elomo Carol. So the video gave me this vibe, and I went through it and I said, okay, let's talk about it. So let's go.
The very first thing I noticed from the moment I got off the boat at Orong heading to Port Harcourt is the fact that these people have POS service like everywhere. It feels like every after 5 meters you have a POS box, every after 5 meters. Like the drive from the beach to where we got a car to head to Port Harcourt, I cannot count the number of POS services I saw. As in, it is the most common thing you can find in Nigeria by the road, everywhere you go to. And this was so shocking to me. Family members, I'm coming from Cameroon. POS services are only in particular places, like big places where you go to. That's where they have this kind of services. For us, by the road, it's Momo, mobile money, MTN mobile money, Orange mobile money, and all the like. But I was so shocked in Nigeria, like POS is like the commonest of the commonest of things that you can find by the road. And in Cameroon, that is not so.
Girl, let's talk about her vibe. Wow, girl gave us this over the top kind of happy vibe, and you will see from her demeanor that she is truly happy, right? And which is where authenticity comes. And she has this positive aura radiating all around her, and that is what I'm talking about. Okay, also her vibe resonates with we Nigerians. You will think she's actually a Nigerian from her vibe. Also, did you notice her intonation, the way she talks, the way she speaks English? Who would even know that she is not a Nigerian but a Cameroonian? You know, it is always very difficult to differentiate between Nigerians and the English-speaking part of Cameroonians, honestly speaking, because it is exactly the same intonation. Everything is actually the same when it comes to the packaging, the aura, the vibe, and the way we speak English. So yes, who even did this? Like, it's somehow that somebody that is coming from Cameroon into Nigeria will need to cross border, like do a cross-border check to move from Cameroon to Nigeria. Generally Africans, and I don't really know, and we are really dancing to that. They just put in borders to demarcate us, and they called us countries. Anyway, let's proceed. Alright guys, so she talked about POS. I know that a lot of us may not know what it means, so I'm going to basically tell us. POS simply means point of sale. Okay, so it is actually a machine that looks like a calculator but heavier. So it's a gadget that works like an ATM machine. However, the difference between ATM and this is the fact that the money that is being paid to you is coming from the owner of the POS machine. So this is how it works. So you want to withdraw money, you locate a POS operator, you tell them the amount you want to withdraw, they will collect your card, they will slot it inside the machine as well as punch few digits. Okay, then they will punch few prompts, and again they will add the amount they want to deduct, pass the machine to you, you will punch in your PIN, and after which the alert sounds. So yours is a debit alert and theirs is a credit alert, so the money gets withdrawn from your account and it lands into their own account. Okay, and then firm, they will count your money and they will give to you. Okay, so it comes as a token. For every 0 through 5,000 naira you're withdrawing, you pay a token of 100 naira only. So from 6,000 through 10,000, you pay a token of 200 naira only. So you may decide to pay in cash, or they may add it during your withdrawals. Okay, and everything will chime into their own account. So it is very simple and it is very easy. Why go to the bank when you can easily walk down the street or go to your neighbor who operates POS and bam, you get your money? So that is how it is. So yes, because of the population, it tends to lessen the queue at the ATM machine or in the bank, and it makes things easier and faster. In fact, many vendors or shop owners now have their own personal POS. So why don't you just go there and buy what you want to buy and use your card and pay, instead of going to the bank queuing to withdraw money for you to go and buy things? So no. Okay, so it's basically a cashless system being operated in Nigeria. So yeah, so if you're a foreigner coming into Nigeria, do have that at the back of your mind. POS is everywhere and many. Okay, all right, so our sister is correct. Let's proceed to the next point.
Now, the second thing is getting to the bus heading to Lagos. If you're Cameroonian watching me, you know the vibe of traveling from maybe Limbe to Yaoundé or Limbe to Bamenda. There is always somebody inside the bus that has these products for sale. And there is this one pill, family members, that can always solve all your problems. It cures malaria, it cures typhoid, it cures toothache, it cures even spiritual problems. Oh, diarrhea, staphylococcus, it can cure this one. Like, once you buy that one pill like this, you will not need any other medication in your life. It happened. That same thing that happens in our buses, right? It happened in the bus when I was traveling from Port Harcourt to Lagos. I see this man stood up and he was marketing his products and he had this one pill. Africans, I think we're all the same. He had this one pill that could cure everything. I was shocked that they also have like that kind of marketing in their buses.
Well, for the pill sellers or the drug sellers, I would say yes and I would say no. Why am I saying no? Is because it is not in all cases. So it depends on the transportation company that you decided to buy the vehicle from. Okay, so most of the times they do allow that in government transport companies. Okay, especially their big bosses, which is not all the time, but most of the private transport companies, they prohibited it. Okay, especially those using Hummer buses. Okay, like GIG, God is good, like GUO Motors, the Young, and the rest of them. They may not allow that. In fact, they don't allow that. However, if you go to general motor parks, okay, where buses are loading, different buses are loading, you will see them with their rickety vehicle, all these old school vehicle and their old school megaphone, talking loud about their drugs, about the medicine, their herbal medicine. It cures staphylococcus, it cures gonorrhea, it cures many things. It cures low sperm count, it cures a lot of things, sleepless night, this and that, Yes, we know all those ones. They do operate here in Nigeria. However, most of them do station in the parks after they realize that they've been prohibited. So they will want to sell their things in parks and with their megaphone. okay, being mounted or stationed on top of their vehicles. Okay, then some of them may want to enter a particular vehicle from one area to another, but mostly buses. But they are not being permitted in most private vehicles. For me, it's been a very long time I witnessed such in interstate travel, sorry. When I say interstate, I'm talking about maybe from Lagos to another state outside the southwestern region. So yes, they don't really allow that. So it is not all the time. Let me just say, just few times. Okay, the Nigerians here will bear me witness. How many of you had seen anybody selling drugs inside your Hummer bus? Nobody really have that kind of time, and it is highly prohibited. Some may want to start selling in the parks, but once the vehicle moves, they will stop. Okay, meanwhile there are some buses that permit it. So that is why I said yes and no. So let's proceed.
The third thing I noticed while driving through Lagos is that family members, they have so many different brands of petrol stations. Oh my God. I cannot even count how many petrol stations they have. Here in Cameroon, I think we have like 5 or 6, like Total, Tradex, MRS, Bocom. It should be like 8 at most, right? But in Nigeria, fam, this is like, let me say Cameroon has 10 petrol stations altogether. Nigeria has like, I don't know, times 2 of that number, 30. You have so many different brands of petrol station. Like, you don't see it repeated. Like, you can see this one brand here, you move forward, you see another brand, you move forward, you see another brand, you go to another area in Lagos, you find different brands. Not like the case of us here, that if you just know your one Total like this, you will see Total in Limbe, you will see Total in Boya, you will see Total in Tico, you will see Total in Douala. But with them there, so many different petrol brands. And I do get, because they produce, it's an oil producing nation, right? So it just makes so much sense for them to have all these different varieties of petrol stations.
As for the petrol stations, yes, I will give you 5 Boza, and Boza. Yes, to our lovely sister, you really, really discover that, and you notice that, and that is true. That is absolutely true. And to my viewers, it may surprise you that in Nigeria we have more than 33,000 petrol stations as at 2021, according to DPR. And as at that time, more than 6,000 were given license to operate. So imagine the huge number. And again, these petrol stations are different branches of the leading companies in the mainstream and downstream sector. Okay, so we are talking about companies like Total, Oando, MRS, NMPC, Renoil, Petrocam, AP, Quest, Mobile, Enyo, Joseph, Konoyo, Etana, Elf, Fort Oil, Konoko, Energy, Express, Northwest, Bovas, Ajib Oil, etc. They have so many branches. There are so many. You can check the database and you will understand what I'm talking about. So for a country that's huge, you have so many oil and gas companies, you have so many leading sectors, and again so many petrol stations. So yes, sis, you are absolutely correct. In fact, you even go to a particular area, you will realize that they are all lined, both the sides and the opposite sides, by petrol stations. Yes, Nigeria is an oil producing nation, and so yes, we have a lot, like a lot and a lot. So yes, so mostly in big cities, except in the rural communities, like in the villages, whereby you may see 1 or 2 petrol stations. However, when it comes to big cities, they are properly lined up, and some scattered from one zone to another. Okay, so let us proceed.
Now, another thing I noticed is in Lagos, once somebody sees you, the first natural reflex is to speak to you in Yoruba. As in, they'll just see you. Ekaro, da 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 da. Like, I don't know, maybe they assume that most of the other ethnic groups that have even settled in Lagos have probably learned the Yoruba language over time, you being there for long. But like, you cannot go to Lagos and you don't hear Yoruba. As in, you must hear Yoruba somehow. And even jumping the buses, which we did, you speak in Yoruba, conductor uwa, as in nobody says, conductor drop me, or I'm stopping here, like that kind of big grammar. Keep that big grammar for yourself. It's conductor uwa, like, and then if there is like an altercation between the conductor and like they start speaking Yoruba, the conductor starts speaking Yoruba, like, I mean, everybody just speaks to you in Yoruba. Even if you want to ask conductor for your change, like my change for money, give me my change, he will respond to you Yoruba. Like, it was so funny to come to a place where everybody just speaks in their, I think that should be their first language. In Cameroon, that is not the case. I understand that Lagos is a Yoruba state, so there are so many Yorubas living in Lagos, and even the people who have come to settle in Lagos from other states or other ethnic groups have somewhat like come to learn about the language, and they can, if not express themselves in Yoruba language. But this is not a case for us in Cameroon. See, somebody cannot walk into Limbe, Buya, which we know that is a Bakri man's land, and then everywhere they're speaking to you in Bakri. It's not, anyway, that's not the case. This particular one offed me because I was like, so everybody's supposed to understand Yoruba, and I love this particular thing about them because they force you to have to learn their language.
I beg to differ, okay? Yes, like she rightly stated, it is her own experience, okay? But I feel maybe you didn't really move around much. I have a different opinion from this. And as someone that had been in Lagos for a very long time, I would say it depends on the locality or the community that you went to, okay? Lagos is a neutral metropolitan city, despite it being a Yoruba land, okay? It is a city in a state. In fact, everywhere is together. It is a city and a state with so many people from different parts of Nigeria dwelling in, okay? And as such, there are so many languages. Though it is a Yoruba land, people speak English and they speak other dialects. If you go to places with much of Yoruba community, you will hear more of Yoruba. Although you will definitely hear Yoruba all around. However, it is not everybody who stay in Lagos that understands Yoruba. Okay? There are people who had been in Lagos for 10 to 15 years, yet they do not understand Yoruba. Even the Ekaro, the Ekale, Ekaso, they know their greetings, but they don't even know whether they are good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good anything. No. Okay? So they don't really understand. Did you understand what I'm saying? However, if you are in an area with the high concentration of the Yorubas, there are some local government that Yorubas are much in there, you will tend to learn how to speak Yoruba more. And within 6 months, you must have picked some Yoruba lines, okay, or some Yoruba terminologies or languages. However, in some other local governments, it is a mixture of Yoruba and other people from other regions. Okay, so when you see the people there, they may likely ask you, do you understand Yoruba? Or they may communicate in English. Although in some parts of Lagos, there are still Yorubas who will still speak their Yoruba, whether you understand or you don't understand. However, it is not everybody who speaks Yoruba, and it is not everybody they see that they speak Yoruba to. I don't know whether you understand what I'm talking about. So it is all about choice. And some people do not even understand Yoruba despite being in Yoruba land or Lagos. If you say in Ogun State, Ijebu, or in Ondo, or in Oyo State, those places are deep Yoruba lands. I'm not saying Lagos is not a Yoruba land, but Lagos is a Yoruba land with a lot of inhabitants. And that is what makes it different from other Yoruba lands. Okay, if you go to other southwestern states and cities, you will hear predominantly Yoruba. In fact, 95% of the time you will hear Yoruba. Okay, so you will be forced to learn. So if you had gone to places like Ogun or other neighboring Yoruba lands and you said this, I would say yes, because they expect you to understand. It's just like when you go to Southeast, it's expected that you should understand Igbo. So somebody will easily greet you in Igbo language. If you go to the core north, somebody will easily greet you in Hausa language. However, in Lagos, they will greet you in Yoruba language depending on the area. And again, if somebody knows that you understand Yoruba, of course, they will communicate with you in Yoruba. But you don't randomly go around and people are just greeting you in Yoruba. In Lagos, generally, no. There are some local governments, Mushin, Felodo, and the rest of them, that you have majority of Yoruba speaking people there. And of course, they may likely speak Yoruba to you. So if those are the areas you went to places that have the concentration of Yorubas, of course, surely you will get that. But that does not mean that in other regions, I'm going to give an example like in Ijesha, in Surulere generally, you see that Surulere is a mixture of both Igbos, Hausas, Yorubas, Ibibio, Efik, so many people, Benue, Bendelite, and Edo, and the rest of them. You will not be speaking Yoruba to them, except you know them. So you will focus on using either Pidgin or English. However, in few cases, you may see some of the elderly people or some young people who may focus on speaking their Yoruba, and again somebody will be interpreting for the next person. Did you understand me? So I would say it depends on the area in Lagos. As for the vehicle, yes, Owa is very simple. Okay, some of those people shouting Owa Owa, that may be the only language they know. If you speak any other Yoruba language, they may not understand. Okay, so yes, and again, not everybody shouts Owa. Some will still speak it in English.
Another shocking thing I realized in Lagos is they have so many banks, family members. See, banks that I saw, right? I cannot even count. I lost track. I was trying to count, but I lost track. These people have so many banks, and the individuals themselves, almost every other person has a bank account. It is very rare to find an adult living in Nigeria who doesn't have a bank account. I mean, almost everybody has a bank account, down to the truck pusher pushing truck by the road. They will tell you, pay me through transfer. I'm like, this is amazing. Everybody has a bank account. But in Cameroon, that's not the case. But with Nigerians, you don't need to have a job. You don't need to be... You go to the universities, almost every student has a bank account. I think bank accounts to them is like a must do. Like, you cannot live without a bank account. And I totally get this point, because if you go to the market to buy, Nigeria is almost getting to the point of being a cashless society. As in rare cases, will you go to a place and they say, oh, they use only cash, they don't use transfer, or it's in very rare cases. They are that advanced. Everything is online banking transactions. So they will just tell you, do a transfer. Even if you're supposed to pay the person 1K, I bought shawarma for 1.5, and I paid that person through bank transfer. That's how advanced they are with their bank transfer system. And I'm like, this is interesting.
Okay, for banks, you are absolutely correct. So Nigeria is actually almost practicing a cashless system. Okay, and so many people tend to have bank accounts, especially those in the urban settlement. So in the urban region or the urban areas, about 95% of Nigerians within the urban settlement do have bank accounts. So the orange seller, the aboki selling fruits, the shoemaker, the vendor, the pure water seller, and the sellers all around the streets or the roads, they have bank accounts. And again, it is easier for them, it is safer for them, than carrying money all around. It is convenient for them and it is reliable for them. So we can just buy what you want to buy, and again, you just transfer the money for as long as the money is substantial. I'm not saying you buy something of 200 naira and you want to transfer the money. No, but money from 1,000 and above, yes, it is considered. It can be considered for you to transfer the money if you do not have cash with you. So yes, people in the urban settlement or urban centers tend to have bank accounts. Okay, so you walk into the bank, you will see so many people there, both educated and non-educated. Even in the rural communities, people have bank accounts. Okay, then those who are yet to have bank accounts, maybe those ones are still trying to, because it is very necessary. It is a necessity, and from the look of things, within the next 2 to 3 years, almost every Nigerian, well, let me not say all, I would say almost, because not every Nigerian will definitely have an account now. Almost, at least about 95% of Nigerians will be able to have bank accounts. And for students, people have bank accounts. It is very easy. What better way to do your transactions than carrying cash all around? So it is convenient for you to have your accounts, and again to get your ATM so that you can easily do some transaction, or you can have your phone with your mobile account, okay, to do mobile transfer and the rest of them. So yes, you're absolutely correct, sis. Banks, there are so many banks in Nigeria. Also, let's forget about the fact that Nigerians like to talk down on themselves or badmouth themselves. When it comes to technology, we are far, far, far ahead. Like, Nigeria is a futuristic country when it comes to technological advancement. I'm telling you, we are better than so many European countries. Okay, you can verify what I'm talking about. When it comes to technology, modernization, more modern things, you will see that Nigerians are leading, because when you come to Nigeria, you will see sophisticated gadgets, you will see the kind of phones you will not see in Europe, you will see the kind of television, the kind of gadgets at home that people use. Yeah, it's Nigeria. So you have to get used to it. Okay? Alright, so let's move ahead.
Another thing that shocked me in Nigeria is the fact that you pay for your bags. As in Cameroon, if I'm traveling, I'm entitled to 2 bags, and I do not pay for that except I'm going out of that luggage. Then I have to pay for it, right? See, in Nigeria, even if it's 1 bag, you pay for that bag to be put in the car. You pay for your luggage separate from the transport fare, which you've paid per head. Like, do you get? The moment you reach Port Harcourt and were to take a bus from Port Harcourt to Lagos, that is where this issue started. As in, we were just getting into Nigeria. We had not bought anything. We had just our small boxes with us, and they told us to pay for those boxes. I'm like, I've already paid 25k for my head, and you still want me to pay money again for boxes? How does this work? That's something that shocks me, because in my country it's not like that. If I was in my country, I'll pay that money, I'll just go and put my box into the car and go, except if I have like extra load. That's when they will charge me for the extra load.
Okay, I'm sorry, fam. I mistakenly deleted the reaction clip that I made concerning this particular experience, and I deleted it mistakenly, and it's permanent. Okay, so I made a voice over. Alright, so permit me to say this. This is actually one of the reasons I do these reaction videos, to clarify or further buttress some informations. Sweetheart, what you experience is not always the case. In the southeast, south, southwest, and other places in the country, yes, you might be charged, but it depends on the boss. Okay, it depends on the kind of box you are carrying. Is it too heavy of a box? Is it more than one? Because there are people that will carry heavy boxes, heavy traveling bags, and the rest of them. So you may likely be allowed to go in with one box, but other boxes, and traveling bags, all these Ghana must go and the rest of them, they will have to charge you for extra load. Okay, So that is it. Then in some cities, intra-city or intercity movement, some will charge you for buses, but not for buses that are so small like that. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. And I know that people watching will also be surprised that they charged you for luggage separate for that kind of small eco lug that you are carrying. Okay, in all my travel via public transport, most of these transport companies like Agofore, GUO, GIG, The Young, Ekesin, etc. from Lagos to Abuja or other regions, for as long as I am carrying one heavy box like an ecolag, they will always load them. However, within the cities or states, if your load is bigger, you pay for extra load. So, like you rightly said about Cameroon, I think it is a similar thing here. So it depends on the boss. I don't really know what happened for that man to charge you, except if there are other things you were carrying except what you showed us. If that thing I saw inside that bus was actually what you carried, then permit me to say that maybe he hustled you. Maybe you told them that you're a foreigner. Because some of them, once they find out that you are also a foreigner, so maybe you're a novice to these kind of things, they may want to extort you in such a manner, which I feel is not proper. Okay, if it is heavier than that, maybe you have loads. Yes, I will tell you, yes, you're supposed to pay for them. Okay, as extra load. Okay, so yeah, I'm surprised that they collected loading money from you for that small box. Okay, so when you went back from Lagos to Port Harcourt, did you pay for separate load? Okay, which transport company? Because I know that most transport company from Lagos down the east or south and the rest of them, one box is enough for as long as you paid for the transportation. Definitely, they're supposed to take one box in, except if it is heavier. And of course, others are also carrying one boxes. So they will need to also fix theirs. So for yours, they will require you to pay for extra seats, which is what they mostly do in most of these big companies, big transportation companies. But for normal ones like maybe for state companies, they may want you to pay for extra load. Some will still go ahead and tell you to pay for extra seat depending on the number of loads you are carrying. So that is basically it. Okay, so I don't really know what happened that will make, but most of the time, yeah, it happens. I know it happens. Okay, but it's not always the case.
Another shocking thing that shocked me in Nigeria, I'm sure if you watch like my videos, you would have already heard that I mentioned this one in one of my videos, is the fact that you walk into an eatery and you have to stand there to collect your food before you go and sit down. Fab, this one upped me because in Cameroon, you cannot do that with anybody in Cameroon. I think we'll enter an eatery, we'll sit down, or even making waiter. Like you find people doing that, they will sit down and they will call for the waiter to come and give them the menu, and when they make their choices, the waiter goes and places their orders and then comes back and serves them. That was what I was familiar with, right? Until I went to Nigeria and I saw that you have to hustle for yourself. Like you enter Chicken Republic, the place, like eateries, you literally stand there. When you decide on what you want to eat, you place your order, you stand there and there, they put the food and they give it to you. You now carry it and go and look for your table where you want to sit and eat. See, they don't have time, and I understand that because there is so much population in that country. Nigeria has population farm. Another thing that shocked me also when it concerns food in Nigeria is the fact that you pay for your protein separate from what you pay from the food farm. Do you get? In Cameroon, if I'm going somewhere and I ask, like, I want to eat gari and eru, and they tell me a plate of gari and eru costs 1.5. In that 1.5, my meat, I have like 2 meats inside and one kanda, or what you call pomo. But in Nigeria, that 1.5 could just be like the empty gari and eru, and then they will now ask you how many meats. You're the one now to tell them if you want 2 meats, if you want 1 meat, and then they'll tell you 1 meat costs this amount, so you will now buy as per what you can afford. That one was so shocking to me because where I'm coming from, if you're telling me a plate of food is 1.5 or 2.5 or 1,000, there should be meat inside, as in you have factored your meat inside that particular plate of food. But with them, that's not the case. You buy the food separate and then you buy your protein separate, then they include it into your package.
Well, for the eatery, I will agree with you. However, not in all cases. Now, let us try to differentiate. There are differences between eateries and restaurants. Okay? So, yes, in some places outside Lagos, if you go to a restaurant to buy food, of course, they will likely serve you while you are seated. While in some cases, you may also have to carry your food yourself. In some places, they don't even send you. So it all depends. So I'm just trying to clarify, okay, between a restaurant and an eatery. Yes, for eateries are the same all over the world. Okay, you just go there because it is very busy, the high number of people they want to cater to. So you pick your orders, they will serve you, you carry it to go and sit down in most big cities. Okay, except if the eatery is a smaller one and can easily cater for one or two persons. So I've witnessed a rare case whereby people were served while seated. I think it was an eatery, one of the old eateries, and with an old name, and I was really surprised. So yeah, it can happen. However, most eateries, you will have to carry your food and sit down to eat. But as for restaurant will serve you, except some restaurants. So it is a 50-50 thing. Some restaurant will serve you, some will not serve you. And again, it depends on the location. Okay, so you talked about Lagos. If you go to other parts of Nigeria, some restaurant will serve you. Okay, while in some parts, some restaurant will not serve you. It also depends on the kind of personality that you are serving. For goodness sake, you go to a very big restaurant that serve millionaires. Okay, you don't expect them to carry their food up and down. So these are the things you also take into cognizance or into you factor in. These are the things you have to factor in. Okay, so yes, it is not always the case. So it all depends on the city. So it is not a Nigerian thing. Okay, it may be peculiar to cities and depending on the circumstances. Okay, so yes, an eatery is different from a restaurant in the sense that eatery, you may be talking about fast food like Mr. Biggs, Hofer's, and the rest of them. Then we have restaurant, big restaurant. We have Amala joints. We have so many big restaurants. Okay, so they are not the same. Hope you understand. And again, in terms of, we now want to talk about general eatery, like both the restaurant and the fast food. It is not always the case, especially for restaurant. For eateries, like the fast food, yes, most times, like I said, rarely would they serve you. Most times you serve yourself. But for a restaurant, it all depends on where you went to and the state in question. So yes, hope you understand. I hope the viewers, you understand what I'm talking about. So yes, let's proceed. As for the meats, I will say this. In some places, they have specific price tag. For instance, there are places you will go to. A plate of food is 1,500 or 1,000 naira. If you tell them to give you a plate of food, definitely that food will carry meat inside. It's been factored in. However, in some cases, they may ask you, do you need extra meat? Did you understand what I'm saying? So in some places, in some cities outside Lagos, and even in Lagos, the food will be factored together with the protein. That is the meat or the fish. And they will tell you, this is what we sell a plate. However, when you look over, you will see that they fried separate fish, maybe big one, big meat. And of course, they may want you to choose. Meanwhile, in some cases, they may just prepare the food separate, and again, they have the protein. So what it means is that they're going to reduce a plate of food. They're going to reduce the amount they are selling a plate of food. So instead of telling you a plate of food is 1,000 naira, they will tell you a plate of food is 600 naira, which means 2 meats to 200 is going to make it 1,000. But now they gave you an option. You may not want the meat at all. You may just want fish. So you tell them, I want a plate of food and fish. The fish may be 400 or 500. You see, some gave you an option Why some will factor in the protein and still give you an option. Why some will factor in the protein.
The very next thing that shocked me the next day after I got to Lagos was the fact that Nigeria has so many churches, family members. See, you all in Cameroon are complaining that, oh, person not sleep fine for a house. Church they every now and then. All kind of church they open. You want to for your backside house, so they pray and cast. You want to for corner school, they pray and cast. Corner hospital, they pray and cast. Church they don't plenty. Like, all those people who are saying those things, you guys owe us an apology. If you go to Nigeria, you will know that we are just joking. As in, we are joking because they have so many churches. I saw these white garment church people. I don't know if that's the name of their church, but they wear a white hat that looks like chef hat, but it's like more fitted. They do wear that white hat, white garment, and family members. The sun that was out in Lagos that afternoon, I was contemplating if I should leave the house or not to go and eat, but I knew I had to eat. But the sun was peeling. It was hitting my skin hard. And family members, these people are walking barefooted. That was the part that offed me. Like, the tar is hot from hot sun, and then you're moving on that tar. Hey, you should have a different level of resistance. That means you can go for Guinness World Record for walking on fire, walking on broken bottles, because it's almost like that.
Yes, so my sister, we have plenty churches in Nigeria. Boza for you. You are correct. Hey, from pillar to post, we have churches. In fact, there are churches that, I don't know, it's like they do measurements. Their church must be in a particular street. I don't really know how they do it, but yeah, we have so many churches in Nigeria. Well, it is what it is, okay? So yeah, it's too many. We have big, we have medium, we have small, we have mushroom, many churches. And for the white garment church that you saw, you likely saw celestial people, okay? We call them Sele, people that attend Sele, okay? So yes, they're not the only white garment church in Lagos. We have other white garment churches like the Cherubim and Seraphims that are divided into Cherubim and Seraphim movement, Cherubim and Seraphic Band, Eternal Sacred Order of Cherubim and Seraphim, Divine Order of Cherubim and Seraphim, Sacred Order, Abozo, and the rest of them. So these Cherubim and Seraphim people stemmed from the Cherubim and Seraphim proper, okay? Some say they are from Eternal Sacred Order of Cherubim and Seraphim before they divided. Some say they are just Cherubim and Seraphim. However, they have a founder, one founder, and the founder is Moses Orimolade. You hear this song, Moses Orimolade is our great teacher. So Yorubas mostly attend white garment churches. Okay, you can also find white garment churches in the east and in the south, in the southeast, in the north, etc. So yes, so they have a lot of white garment churches in Lagos. So yes, I think you saw Sele, and there are so many churches. Okay, so concerning the barefoot, yes, they have their belief system of standing on the holy ground. Okay, so it depends on their doctrine. So it is what it is. Okay, yeah, so you observed well. We have so many churches in Nigeria. And not just so many churches, we also have mosque. And Lagos tends to be a liberal environment whereby you see mosque here, you see church here, and they coexist. I just pray that with the number of churches and mosques we have, that people will have a repentant heart and at least understand how morality works. However, well, I don't really know, but yeah, we have so many churches, so let's proceed.
Another thing that shocks me in Nigeria is the fact that the average home in Nigeria can afford an AC. Do you get? In Cameroon, once you have AC in your house like this, we'll just know that you're rich. Like, there's nothing you can tell us otherwise. But in Nigeria, that's not the case. Like, you can see somebody who is still starting life, or let me say in Lagos, maybe because Lagos is so hot, and I do get that point, but you see people who are starting their lives and they have ACs in their house, in their houses. Like, you have youths that have ACs in their homes. Here in Cameroon, you hardly find youths that are starting off life having ACs in their houses. True, Limba is so hot, but people who have ACs in their houses are like people who are much older. I don't know. I just cannot explain it, but it is not so common to see people who are just starting off life, as in young people, have ACs in their houses here in Cameroon. But in Nigeria, the average young person who is starting life can afford to put an AC in their houses.
Yes, you are correct. However, it is mostly in Lagos. I'll be honest with you. Okay, so Lagosians, when I say Lagosians, I'm not just talking about Yorubas, I'm talking about people who were brought up or people who grew up in Lagos. Okay, so Lagosians generally love comfort. Okay, if they can afford it. And that is why you come to Lagos and see someone staying in a room self-contained or staying in face me, I slap you, that is public yard, and still have an AC. Okay, however, it is not in all the cases. There are some who may not want to buy despite having the fund, since they are still struggling to raise money, maybe to leave the general yard or the discomfort they have to get a better apartment. Also, if you go to some regions in the country outside Lagos, you will see a lot of people who do not have AC. Not that they cannot afford it. Even in Lagos, you will see somebody who stays in 2 to 3 bedroom apartments, some even 3-bedroom flats, yet they don't have AC. Not because they cannot afford it. Of course, they pay in millions in terms of their rent. However, they do not see the AC as a necessity, especially those who stay in the first or second floor, who may feel that, oh, the cold may be too much. While some who, even if the cold is too much, may want the comfort of their home. Okay, they will live in 2 3-bedroom flats and still have their ACs in all the rooms. And you will see somebody staying in face me and slap you public yard and still have AC. Okay, it is all about choice and necessity. However, it is not everywhere you go that you see it. So maybe the area you went to, you may also see a lot of people with ACs despite living in one room and the rest of them. There are places you will go to, despite even living in 3-bedroom flats, they don't have AC. Not that they cannot afford it, but it is just a matter of choice. And again, yes, most of them can afford it. See, that is why I said, yes, you are correct. However, not in all cases that they just buy AC. But yeah, mostly in Lagos. That's why you will see most of these things. If you go to some areas, you may hardly see some people staying in one room or young boys with AC when they are still struggling. Okay, while you can also go to some cities in Nigeria and see young boys with AC, whether they are struggling or not struggling. So you see, it's a matter of choice. So yes, you have a point. However, it depends. Okay, so yes. Let us proceed.
Another shocking thing that shocked me in Nigeria is the fact that family members, you see their bottled water and their pure water. Before I went to Nigeria, I knew that their bottled water exists and their pure water exists, but I knew that it was like for luxury, right? It was just when you want to be like how people drink super here. I knew that like we drink our tap water here, except when you have certain health conditions, then you start drinking super more here. But in Nigeria, their bottled water or pure water is a must do. As they don't drink their tap water, that's what I noticed. So the bottled water is for like the regular person, any regular average person. The pure water now came in place to like make water affordable for the really low class people, so that they can also have good drinking water. So like all the people who are begging by the road, or they are drinking the sachet water, and then you have bottled waters in their restaurants and eateries. People at home drink their bottled water. It shocked me, family members. I'm not gonna lie, this one shocked me because I'm like, why are you not drinking your tap water? Drinking bottled water is not luxury as we will consider it here. It is like a necessity for them. Bottled water or sachet water is like a necessity for them. You must be able to afford either of them.
Well, as for pure water and bottled water, yes, I agree with you to a larger extent. I agree with you to a larger extent. However, it is not in all cases, okay? Yes, you said Lagos. In Lagos, of course. Many people tend to drink sachet water in Lagos because the tap water may not be clean enough for drinking. Okay, and we have wells in Lagos. We have tap water maybe from government, which they don't really pump all the time. So sometimes it may come out dirty because of the pipe that is already dirty. So you may not really want to drink it and the taste. So you will opt to drink borehole. So some people in Lagos State drink borehole water, clean waters from borehole that was dug deep. Okay, so we have a lot of borehole in Lagos. Okay, also if you leave Lagos State and go to some other places, you will see people drinking stream water, water from the stream, water from borehole, sachet water, that is the pure water, as well as bottled water. So yes, for Lagosians, they don't really want to drink tap water because of the impurities. However, some of them drink borehole water. I know of some families personally that drink borehole water. However, it is not all borehole that they drink from. So it all depends on the one they finally actually sieved out from other boreholes that actually have cleaner water for them to drink. So, and again, some will get borehole water and boil the water then and pour them when they are cold and they will drink them. While some will drink sachet water and some will drink bottled water. So it is all about the choice and what is available to you and the means to get them. Okay, so yes, so it is not that we don't drink tap water. I don't know, by tap water, borehole water is part of tap water, right? But if you're talking about tap water in terms of government pumped water, no, we don't drink that. However, there are cases where people will drink it. So it all depends on the locality and what is available to them. Okay? So I just want us to get clear on that. So you don't see somebody drinking tap water tomorrow, be like, but I thought they say Nigerians don't drink tap water. Please, it depends. They do. Depending on the kind of tap water and where it was pumped from. Nigerians drink borehole water if it is clean. In fact, there are places in Southeast, South that they prefer the borehole water that is very clean to the sachet water. They don't even know how they produce them. Meanwhile, in some places, they may prefer to stick to sachet water because they do not trust the borehole water or the tap water. While in some cases, they may want only the table water. So it varies based on the choice and the availability of the water and the resources to get the water that they want to drink. Okay, or the availability of the resources to get a good drinking water. So yes, however, in major big cities, people just quickly dive to drink sachet water here and there because that is something that is easily available. People don't move around with keg, right? So on the road, you easily take sachet water, buy sachet water on the road in the market, or bottled water in the eatery, of course. Okay, but there are some eateries outside Lagos that will give you clean water in jugs. I'm telling you the simple truth. Very clean. So yeah, it depends. Nigeria is very big. So it will be very difficult for you to define Nigeria based on your experience in a particular region. That is why I normally tell people who are narrating their experience to focus on mentioning the region they went to. And not just the region. Mention the particular place you went to and tell them, my experience in this particular place in Lagos. Because what you see in a place in Lagos will be totally different from another place in Lagos. So it is always safe to say may or may not. It depends. Okay? All right, let's proceed.
The very last thing that shocked me about Nigeria is the fact that family members, they do not complain about dirty money. This was such a cruise for me. here in Cameroon, people are so selective when it comes to money. As in, if you give somebody money that is so old or is torn, like it's looking one way, they'll be like, I beg, how much kind of money that's change up? They go worry me. And truly, if you take that money, they will actually disturb you. Might go to the market to buy, and one mommy will look at it and say, now which kind of money this? Change up. Now which kind? But in Nigeria, see, you can see, let me say in Lagos, let me not even say Nigeria. I don't know how it works for the other parts of Nigeria, but in Lagos, nobody cares about how old the money is looking. Like you give somebody a very old looking 500 naira, they collect it and they don't complain. You see old money and they are using it to do their businesses. Life is continuing, like they are not complicated. When I saw this particular aspect, I just shook my head and I told Stacy, like, we're not serious to make money in that country. When we get serious, we will not even bother about the color of the money. All is that it is money and it is still functional.
Well, when it comes to money in Lagos State, things are moving fast. So yes, conductors, bus drivers may easily collect any kind of money you bring, very dirty, tia money, they may collect it. And again, people in filling stations will definitely collect any kind of money you bring, depending on the mood they are in. Yes, well, they will mostly collect your money, okay, because they are going to pack this money in quantum and send to the bank. However, if you go to the market and meet all these old women in Lagos, my dear, don't bring tia money, because you will hear, oh, auntie, please change them for me. Yes, you have to change, okay? However, filling station will collect anything, whether rickety money, brown, white, tia, they will collect and send to the bank. So the same is applicable in other regions. Okay, it all depends on the person you meet. However, for as long as the money is not torn, being dirty is not enough for them to reject it. So even if your money is dirty or rumpled, it can be accepted anywhere in Nigeria. But when it comes to tia, I am not too sure that it will be collected everywhere you go to. So it all depends. So yes, old money and new money. That is why if we're talking about old money in terms of money that is rumpled and brown or dirty, yes. But if we're talking about old money, like old as in old, like done part of it already tear, they will use solid tape and match it and cover it. Sweethearts, not everybody will collect it. So we'll collect and look at it and turn it front and back and say, do you have another one? Yes, it happens. So it all depends on what we mean by old money or new money. But there are people that I know that collect old money. Take it to the bank. They will collect any kind of money you bring, because after all, they are the ones that issue the money, right? Yeah. Also, filling stations, because they will send it to the bank, right? Bus conductors and drivers, of course, they're in a hurry to collect the money because they will also give it out, right? So yes, however, they may be limited to tia money. There may be a certain degree of the tearing that they will tell you, sis, I beg exchange them. Okay, so but if you have tia money, go to the bank, right? In some areas they may collect, in some areas they may not. But for as long as it is not torn, it is just old and rumpled, baby, you bring it, they'll collect it in Nigeria. Make things, they move fast. All right, overall, sweethearts, you did amazing. I love the vibe from the beginning through the ending, and she gave this amusing package alongside her experience. And this is what I'm talking about. All right, thank you so much for bringing out this content. And yes, I'm looking forward to more. And yes, you're welcome to stay more in Nigeria and to visit us frequently. All right, thank you so much. I remain your host, Qinspride. Let's keep going.
I just can't help but sway. Nothing else matters.